What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video, continuing my record predictions for the 2022 NFL season. I've already gone through the NFC North and the NFC East. Today I'm going to do the NFC West. Really trying my best here to avoid predicting any teams that come in conflict with the Cleveland Browns just yet, because we don't know what the Deshaun Watson situation is going to end up looking like. But I also only have so much time to get my predictions in between now and the end of the season, so I'd really like if they expedited that process for us. As always, I got my mock rate by my side, but a record prediction video is pretty straightforward, like I said, covering the NFC West today. Starting at the bottom of the barrel of one of the strongest divisions in all of football, we got the Seattle Seahawks, who I'm predicting go 3-14 next season. I think most people I'm predicting the Seattle Seahawks probably have them between a 2 to 5 win range. There's just not much redeemable about this team at the moment. They went 7-10 last year. That was with Russell Wilson. Granted, he was injured, but this team has been a shell of its former self over the last couple of years, and it's only been getting worse. They're definitely heading into a rebuild mode. They did get a pretty massive return in that trade for Russell Wilson. They got defensive tackle Shelby Harris. They got quarterback Drew Lock. They got tight end Noah Fant, a ton of first-round picks. Given the state of their franchise, it definitely was the right move, and it should pay off for them so long they don't screw up the picks that they got in return. I mean, they could completely draft a bunch of busts, and suddenly they traded Russell Wilson for a bunch of nothing. But I'd like to think that's relatively unlikely. But nevertheless, this team going to 2022, as far as how that trade's going to impact the short term, it's not going to be pretty. 3 wins is about where I cap them out at. Plus Bobby Wagner. I know they still have DK and Tyler Lockett, but they just do not have enough on either side of the ball to be a decent team this season. But I do have Seattle's first victory coming in week 1 against Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos in Russ's return to Seattle. That would be one hell of an upset, wouldn't it? Now for my prediction for third place in the NFC West in 2022, I do predict the Arizona Cardinals to take that rightful place at 7-10. There's a lot that's happened for the Cardinals since the beginning of 2021 up to this point in time. At the beginning of 2021, nobody really knew what to expect from them. They made a bunch of veteran signings. They brought in J.J. Watt. They brought in A.J. Green. Seemed to really try and make a solid run forward, and they did start off 2021 really well. They were undefeated until like week 8 or week 9. Then when DeAndre Hopkins went down with what I believe was a knee injury, it was pretty much wraps for the Arizona Cardinals. They never looked the same since their beginning stretch of going undefeated, and they just fizzled out in the postseason and lost to the Rams. And then heading into the offseason, things just got worse for the Cardinals. Their star receiver DeAndre Hopkins, who missed the back end of 2021, is going to miss the front end of 2022 because he was using beaver tranquilizer by accident. And they were also having issues extending their franchise quarterback in Kyler Murray, and they eventually came up with a deal, which actually only happened about a week ago now, maybe only 4 or 5 days ago. And even after the extension happens, there's still more drama. In the contract details, apparently Kyler Murray needs 4 hours of independent study time per week. And so from the outside perspective, some people like us, it doesn't seem like he studies. He doesn't watch film. He doesn't do anything to improve the mental side of the game. He seems to just be running on his athleticism and expecting it to get him there. Obviously, that might be a bold assumption to think that he does absolutely no studying, no film watching, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, why else would a team ever put this in the contract details for their franchise quarterback? That just seems a little alarming. This is something, if I'm a Cardinals fan, I'm extremely freaked out by. I'm worried about it. I mean, the way that 2021 ended, the way that things have gone this offseason, I mean, this is extremely concerning. I think that franchise, that team is just run extremely horribly anyway. Nobody believes in Cliff Kingsbury, including myself. I don't know if I believe in Kyler Murray, especially after this news that's come out after this extension. There's just not much to love about the Cardinals at the moment. With that in mind, I do have Arizona finishing off 2022 at 7-10. Sticking with the same color scheme, moving on to my second place prediction for the NFC West, I do think that's where the San Francisco 49ers butt in. I have them finishing 10-7. And just a couple days ago, Kyle Shanahan did confirm that this is going to be Trey Lance's team going forward. There's no more quarterback controversy. Jimmy Garoppolo is no longer the starter, and it is trade time. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I'm not saying he's going to be great. I don't know if he's going to be bad. I'm just kind of on the fence waiting to see it all unfold. We just haven't seen enough of him, but if the 49ers operate like we've seen them operate in the past, I can't imagine he's going to have too much weight on his shoulders. I think he'll bear a little bit more responsibility than Jimmy Garoppolo ever has in the past, but I mean, they're just so predicated on the run game. Their defense creates so many turnovers. They make so many stops. I just don't think Trey Lance is going to be in this position where he has to carry that much of a load. I think they're going to be an extremely tough team to beat, as they usually are. And similar to their counterpart in the Arizona Cardinals, who went on like an 8 or 9 game win streak in 2021, I have the San Francisco 49ers starting off 2022 with a 6-game win streak. But once the season really starts to progress, I think they come back down to earth, similar to the Arizona Cardinals did last year. But I am looking forward to seeing what Trey Lance has to offer. They moved up to the 3rd pick in 2021 to grab him, and that was not a cheap thing to do. So they really have high hopes for him. I'd like to think he's going to offer something extraordinary. If it's not this year, then it is in the future. But as far as 2022 goes, I have them finishing second in the NFC West at 10-7. And finally, with one spot remaining, one team remaining that can only make for one combination. Coming in first of the NFC West in 2022, as far as what the Caveman's forecast says, I have the Los Angeles Rams, who I think are going to go 14-3. That's probably a little bit bold for your liking. I know a lot of people are not too high on the Rams going into next season, but I guess I just don't understand why people shouldn't be high or wouldn't be high on this team going into next year. The Super Bowl champions, they have no capital. They're going up against the cap constantly. I mean, there's a lot of things that play against the Rams at the moment because of the way they went about 2021, but that doesn't mean they still don't have talent. I think people forget that the Rams have like 3 top 15 players in the NFL on their team, and that is pretty substantial regardless of some of the losses they had last season. Middle linebacker Bobby Wagner is going to be a tremendous veteran addition. Although he's washed, I'm not sitting here saying he's going to play like the Bobby Wagner we've seen in his prime in the past, but he's still going to be a big help. The offensive side of the ball, I know they lost Andrew Whitworth. I know they lost Odell, although I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for Odell to still sign back with the Rams. But they also added veteran wide receiver Allen Robinson, and people seem to truly forget how good Allen Robinson actually is. This dude used to be, at least in my opinion, a top 12 wide receiver, even had an argument for top 10. And he's far from washed. He was just stuck in Chicago with bad situations, bad head coaching, bad quarterback play. I mean, he was just stuck in such a bad spot, and now he's playing with the best quarterback he's ever had in his career. If you know anything about Allen Robinson, you would know that he's put up numbers with no matter who his quarterback has been. Now he's been added to the Super Bowl champions with Matthew Stafford. Something tells me this is going to go pretty damn well. Sean McVay working with Matthew Stafford to make adjustments in the offense is different than Sean McVay working with Jared Goff to make adjustments in the offense. Things are going to be different. They're going to change things up. Matthew Stafford is good enough. He's smart enough to change things around with Sean McVay, unlike Jared Goff. I think that was a big issue with them. And to be honest with you, I know Matt Stafford threw for a ton of touchdowns last year. I know he threw for a ton of yards, but he wasn't the best quarterback last season by any stretch either. He still threw the most interceptions in the NFL with 17. He threw the most pick sixes. If Matthew Stafford can reduce the amount of turnovers he threw last season, which I think is very possible, I mean, what is going to stop this Rams team from being just as good as they were last year, if not even better? So yeah, the Rams are my first place prediction for the NFC West at 14-3. I have one division left to do in the NFC, but I'd like to imagine that they'll probably end up as the number 1 seed once it's all said and done for this conference. But that will wrap it up, folks. My NFC West predictions for the 2022 NFL season. Let me know what you're thinking. Any thoughts you may have. Am I overrating the Rams? Am I just not giving the Cardinals enough credit? Let me know. As always, if you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I'd appreciate that. You want to go over to Twitter, follow me over there. I'd appreciate that as well. I have a TikTok down in my description that I really think you should check out, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.